I'm Marvel. This channel exists to connect gamers to MMOs they'll love. In this series, I play perhaps the most underrated MMORPG on Steam, Project Gorgon. It's inspired by classic MMOs like EverQuest, Asheron's Call 1, and Star Wars Galaxies, currently sitting at a very positive score on Steam in early access with a demo available for free. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more MMO content. Welcome to the first episode of Season 2. Marvel has grown much since her initiatory experience on the Newbie Island, yet we're just at the beginning. In the last episode, we found ourselves retreating from Commander Pharaohs, who is nearly undefeatable unless stunned. Since I was running a sword and bow build, I had no effective way to damage him. I retreat, yet stumble upon ads within the Brainbug Cave. While each enemy is not threatening on their own, they tend to congregate in packs. Moreover, brain bugs can debuff you, so that your skills require more power to use and preserve corpses, despite having no armor and being slow, deal large amounts of damage in melee. Together, they can both neutralize and chew through unscrupulous melee fighters. After flirting with Death's Door, I cannot stomach leaving here without solving Commander Pharaoh's puzzle. Remembering that I learned the skill Shield in Cerebral Hills, and seeing it in action by fellow adventurers in the crypt outside of the keep, I thankfully found a buckler in my bag to equip. I already know 4 abilities, yet at this point I have no idea what any of them do, so I hover over them to learn more. There are some fields of data whose importance I'm unsure. What's the significance of a core ability or a signature debuff? I presume these relate to augments or item modifiers on loot, yet the association at this point isn't clear. Regardless, one of them stuns your opponent, so let's hope it's enough to bring Commander Pharaohs down. What do you notice? Yes, I've learned to body pull. Thank you to everyone who has helped me learn about the implicit systems within Project Gorgon. You're an incredible community. I also used this time to learn what the new shield skills do and how to best contextually use them in battle. It's the moment of truth. Will my new shield ability provide a long enough window of vulnerability to bring Commander Pharaohs down? Let's watch. Also, notice that I used a healing and armor kit before the battle. I was taught to do this too. As the fight continues, what other trick should I be aware of? Moreover, before you stun the commander, he's yellow, yet after, he turns white. I'm not sure if it's significant, yet it's a fun detail. The battle is over and I am finally victorious, not by brute strength nor through wit, yet due to disruption. This is a lovely example of an endearing feature of Project Gorgon. Every zone has puzzles that you simply cannot muscle through. You have to understand the unique situation and adjust accordingly, even if it requires you to momentarily reduce DPS. After securing my victory, I noticed something in the hand of a nearby corpse. It's a note painstakingly written with someone's blood. It's heartbreaking and shows that Commander Pharaohs is not a villain, but a victim of the crimes of the Cerebral Council. This lore item also hints of a cavern system under Eltibule Keep, which I believe I accidentally visited with Shylock the Bard, although knowledgeable viewers can correct me if I'm wrong. Regardless, I love foreshadowing that nudges my interest to more deeply explore the cave network detailed in the parchment. The next time I log in, I find myself in Eltibule. The reason, while seemingly connected to the lore item examined moments ago, is actually because, if you may have seen, I am updating the featured images in my video to better represent the content instead of using concept art. Regardless, an item for the developers to keep in mind is that the ambient noise while outside causes my ears to ring after a few moments. There's a high frequency within the noise of the ecology that's unpleasant to audibly experience. Listen and let me know if you agree. Also, a detail I do appreciate about the sound design is that the hooves of the horse only trigger noise when each foot hits the ground, which ramps up in tempo as the steed gains speed. Nice touch. As I return to the keep to do my errands, I remember playing through a dungeon years ago in this zone, yet fail to recall precisely where it is. I ask in global chat. Cone Kanyan answers quickly. Thank you. I realize that there are 2 bodies of water in this zone, so I must have been looking in the wrong one. Careful viewers may notice that the second skill on my hotbar now is animal taming. Per a new season, I'm wanting to branch into other skill trees to explore their features. Since I love animal classes in most MMORPGs, I'm giddy to try Project Gorgon's implementation. As you'd expect, while Gisli can teach you how to tame a rat, as you could also learn on the Newbie Isle after completing the Boolean puzzle, there are other trainers in the world who can teach you to subdue other types of animals. I presume it's intended that the pet system will interact with the upcoming husbandry update, yet listeners can inform my understanding. I finally locate the portal to the dungeon I had been looking for. However, the controls in the water are a bit awkward. I have to push G in order to submerge. Yet, I'd greatly prefer that the viewport, if under a certain Y-axis threshold, would automatically cause you to dip underneath, like in World of Warcraft or EverQuest. The zone transition is sufficiently underwater with its entrance too that causes your heart to race trying to beat asphyxiation. One reason I am here is to loot cheese, because I need it to tame one of these rats. To listeners, where else can I loot cheese, or how do I craft it? I seem to remember that you can loot one from rats, so let's hope I get lucky. As you'd expect, the mobs here are quite weak, yet consistent with dungeon design, come in packs. Sigils, similar to those we encountered in the crypt, are functionally turrets that must be dealt with in order to avoid consistent damage being taken. I love how the encounter design here stays consistent in more difficult areas, giving new players a glimpse into what they will continue to encounter throughout their time in Project Gorgon. As I walk up a tunnel, I realize these rats, despite being rather weak, are by default aggressive. I wonder if at a certain point in power disparity if mobs quit being kill on sight or if their AI profile is static. I honestly enjoy certain creatures not being intelligent enough to determine if they're likely to lose. Moreover, I noticed that the death animation of a rat causes me to feel mournful because you can see their hind feet spaz. But the good news is one of these furry friends finally drops some cheese. I can finally begin to amass my army. Running down a tunnel still unexplored, I see another portal. I presume this doesn't take me to Cerebral Keep, yet where does it lead? I love this. It connects to the crypt. I seem to remember that NPCs in the crypt spoke about a connected sewer system, and I believe dinosaurs are in both areas. The world building is superb. I think the spike in difficulty would be more appropriate for the sewers to connect to the brain bug cave, yet thematically I understand this connection. If anything, it's foreshadowing content you should plan on experiencing, even if it isn't what's next for your character's progression. However, since I realize I'm out of food, and since I've learned what happens in such circumstances multiple times, I decide to return to town to stock up on food supplies. But before I do, I realize you can make notes on your map. I begin to use this feature to great effect. However, on my way back, I figure I may as well tame a rat to train. But instead of immediately joining your team, it's sent to your stable. In my circumstance, the animal in stable 1 has died, so there's no way to use the creature I just tamed. I found this disappointing and confusing at first. I realize it's a result of my ignorance of how Project Gorgon's taming system works, yet in most MMOs, the animal instantly becomes your teammate. The frustrating situation aside, since I'm returning to town anyways, I decide to let this be a lesson learned. As I am in town, I thankfully find some buttered baked potatoes for sale, yet they're quite expensive. While I end up buying the lot, which recipes do you recommend that I learn to make food myself? The longer I play Project Gorgon, the more I realize how important it is to be adequately nourished. I find Gisli and try to determine how to best sort out my animals. However, the UI is too small to see how to revive the fallen rat in stall 1. I'd prefer that this particular screen automatically assigns to include the buttons to avoid confusing moments like this. I presume it shares a class of UI menus that is shared across different GUI uses, yet having the inner body area automatically fit the content inside generally would result in less confusing situations. Regardless, I move the sewer rat to the top to be able to be summoned, and like that, I now have my furry friend by my side. Time to return to the sewer dungeon to level up our rodent. And horses can swim. Will our new duo be able to safely complete this dungeon unscathed? Watch the next episode to find out. Thanks for watching.